like when I was doing that little exercise, tuning in to like my original source and my like the original source and self, and then just like as the observer, noticing like emotions passing and everything, like clouds in the sky. And then when you pose the question, like, is that observer or the original, like, is it affected by the emotions? And I like was tuning in to really notice that, like, is it being affected? And like I honestly feel like it is, like it's influenced, like, but I'm like almost like the observer or the original is like does like this is my questioner noticing like maybe it or I feel like it might be it is being influenced or enriched by like the big eye is being influenced or enriched maybe or evolving from the little eye experience, like almost like how a parent would be like the observer and the child would be like the little eye that's birthed from the observer, and the parent like is the same but like they're enriched by watching their children experience and grow up. Like I almost wonder like, and I feel like is so maybe can sorry if this is weird, but can the observer like yeah it's the same but can it also be enriched by these little ego experiences?
Okay, this is a good question, actually. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's just explore this. So, well, when that was being noticed, and there's all these appearances, and then there's this a question arising here, or maybe there's this question of enrichment or something or other. The the awareness, the ultimate, the infinite awareness, does remain always untouched and unchanged. But this will only be realized. It's not about believing me. However, and this is important, this is where you're going, and this is where I think you're starting to sort of see something here, is that it, and this it being the infinite awareness or the infinite silence or the infinite consciousness, we could say it this way, chooses to express and experience itself in infinite variety. And in this way comes to know itself in its own experience. Now, the infinite silence, the infinite awareness, the infinite consciousness that we are, just if we call that, for the sake of a word, absolute, the absolute, in that and as that, and the realization of that, there is no space, no time, not even being. It's before and beyond all of that. And without space, time, form, physical, and being, there is no experience. Simply none at all. None. It comes to know itself by, let's say, the creation or the appearance of time, space, form, and being, comes to express and know itself in its own experience. And so, all from that absolute perspective, there's nothing wrong or right about any of the appearances. It's all an appearance on the green screen of consciousness, and that anything can be projected, like in movies, can be projected onto a green screen, but it remains untouched and unmoved by it. Yet, it chooses to have this experience, to express and experience. And the realization of itself as that isn't because the body mind experience is there. It gets, if we use the phrase in English, we have a phrase to have its cake and eat it, so to speak, which means you can you can still have the cake but also eat the cake. That, if everybody knows, that it's a bit like that as a metaphor. It gets to be this infinite awareness, and it gets to experience itself as well. And there's nothing wrong in the experience. And that's why it's said in spiritual circles that ultimately there is no right or wrong. Although at the human level, we clearly know a difference between that which is in service of love and peace and that which isn't. It's intuitively that we know that. So what you're touching on there, Megan, is I feel is that it comes to know itself, and it's okay to express and experience itself in the form of, Megan, in the kind of parent-child type metaphor you were using, but it's still untouched and unmoved. It's like watching this movie of life appearing in front of itself, and it's like this that is appearing in front of itself, or it has its cake and eating it, so to speak. Can I just check back in with Megan there, Jolene, to see if that helps her? Yeah, go on, Megan.
Yeah. Yes. I really want to know if that clean slate always returns to purely clean slate, or if it's permanently embedded by the chalk that was on it before. Like, so I'm just so curious about that. But at the same time, like, I'm open to the concept of it always like remaining neutral, all infinite, like times infinity. It's just so interesting to me. Or is it like, can it evolve? Can the original also evolve and not always remain neutral? But I mean, it's just something. It's it's probably my little eye and my little brain just trying to make sense of it. But
Sure.
I do like the having your cake and eat it too metaphor. That feels. I like that idea. So that's cool. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. The metaphor, and any metaphor I might use over the next few days, has its limitations. It's pointing to say it's a bit like this, but then we must go beyond the metaphor. It can be assured, one can be assured that this is untouched and unmoved, and that will only ultimately be realized. It's not about believing what you may perceive, as Philip says, but the infinite and the finite, and our bodies, are finite tools of this, are not separate. They're not separate. Also, taking it a bit further, is it evolving? Well, if we just use the appearance of the Earth and geological time and humanity appearing however long ago humanity appeared, then one can see over a period of time an evolution in the experience of humanity. And we're on that curve now, and 2020 was a lot about that in a very big and challenging way. And so we're so used to looking at things over time. We're so conditioned into the appearance over time, and the Earth has been around, according to modern science, 4.5 billion years. I think it is something like that. However, to the absolute, to the infinite awareness, it is before and beyond time. And so to it, all the appearances, all the experiences, all it has ever been, ever was, and ever will, using the time domain now again, is simply there for it now, simply here now. And yet, in the human experience, we appear to experience things over time frames. But in reality, there's just this eternal now moment in which, and I'm speaking metaphorically here again now, it's all here now. And and because it's infinite and absolute, it gets to do that. It's taking that, having your cake and eating it to the absolute extreme, so to speak. So at one level, one could say there is no evolution, and at another level, you could say there's infinite evolution, and you'd be right in both cases. Because we're trying to conceptualize something that ultimately is beyond and before all concepts. So let me just check back in with Megan again, just to see where she is with that now.
Yes, I am in the now right now, so just gonna go with the flow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So glad. Thank you for sharing that, because this is actually, you'll start to experience over the next few days. One person's question ultimately is everybody's question. And dissolve the questions, it starts to become clearer. Because mind is always going, but, but. And then as the buts get dissolved, this is the cornering of the ego mind, so to speak, until, oh shit, my days are numbered. Excuse my phrase there, but I'm just trying to emphasize it for you. Oh gosh, like that's it. I'm cornered now. Checkmate for the ego, if you like. Good.